Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For a radio audience tuning in at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all can be with us. Also joining us online worldwide via our podcast at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music. We're glad you all could be with us as well. You guys may remember last year, had the privilege of welcoming Peter Gros to our broadcast in 2023. We were talking about the Mutual of Omaha show, Wild Kingdom Protecting the Wild. He's back with us today, and he's brought a special guest as well. Dr. Rae Wynn-Grant is joining us. She's also the best-selling author of the book Wildlife, Finding My Purpose in an Untamed World. They're going to talk to us not only about the success of the show, but also the new season, what it's been like for them to help to educate as well as to entertain through the show. And, of course, we'll let you guys know maybe some of their favorite stories from this season as well. Thanks to the two of you for the time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, Peter, I want to start with you. As I mentioned, I had a chance to speak with you last year about the show Wild Kingdom Protecting the Wild. What has it been like for you to see the continued success of the program?
Well, it's been very exciting, and I think the most exciting part of the show is our co-host, Dr. Rae Wynn-Grant. This is our second season working together, and it's been wonderful being in locations all around the world, be it in the desert or being in Central America or being in Canada. Regardless of where we go, she has studied wildlife, specializing in bears and studying large cats, and so it's a perfect fit for us to be filming together, and she's so comfortable around wild animals and the wild locations in which we film.
Aww.
So it is absolutely a treat. Now that we're going in this weekend, launching the second season, it's even more exciting because, well, I'm going to have Dr. Rae tell you about some of the situations that we've been in.
Well, Dr. Rae, I'm so glad you could join us. Congratulations on your success. For those who are not familiar with it, I definitely invite them. I'm the nerd of this program, Dr. Rae. So I got your book after I saw you talking about it on CBS. And I think what is so interesting, we get to know you, but also your love of wildlife. What has that been like for you to be able to share, especially with your profession as an ecologist?
Yeah, my goodness. You know, first I have to say thank you for all the support. And if you read my book, you'll realize that I fell in love with wild animals more than a couple decades before I ever saw a wild animal. I fell in love with wild animals through watching nature programs just like Wild Kingdom on television, and just knew I wanted to dedicate my life to being a scientist who figured out how to save them, to doing conservation, and then also communicating all of that work to the public so that more people could fall in love with wild animals. And so it's been an absolute, pretty surreal experience, but truly a dream come true to have wound up being a co-host of this show with Peter Gros, someone who I used to watch on Wild Kingdom when I was a kid, and learning from him about how to best communicate stories of conservation, stories of wildlife success, and hope. And, you know, my dream, my wish is that when people watch our show, they feel empowered, they feel educated, and they are left with a smile on their face because they realize that there is so much hope and so many reasons to think positively about what's going on in the environment.
Yeah, I think the two of you make such a great pairing for this because of your love of connection. And Dr. Rae, you talk about this in your book about the connection, between, of course, us as humans and, of course, the wildlife. Peter, of course, has dedicated himself to that. I want to talk about what you just mentioned, and that is conservation, Dr. Rae. Our audience may hear that word and may not be too familiar, even really clear about what that means. So what is wildlife conservation, and why is it so important?
Sure. So wildlife conservation is the science behind protecting wild animals and their habitats, the places that they live. And it's incredibly mission critical. It is so important because without wild animals, everything from earthworms to polar bears to the whales in the oceans, our planet would absolutely collapse. There's a lot of animals that are critical to the functioning of ecosystems and healthy water and clean air. And so the work of protecting wild animals, it's a science. It's different in every place with every different species, and it's also fascinating, and it's also fun. And so that's why we have a show about conservation. We show the people who do it, the places where it's happening, and all of the great work that gets done.
And Peter, as I mentioned, you've dedicated so much of your life to this. What has it been like for you to see not only, of course, the growth of this cause, but also the education that's taking place through programs like yours and others?
Well, to me, it's wonderful to see how much more exposure conservation is getting, how important it is, how this next generation is wanting to become more involved. The most common question I get when I speak is, what can I do to help? And that's such a great sign. And so we talk about contributing locally for clean beach cleanups and river cleanups and replanting and removing invasive species, volunteering at zoos and nature and science centers. And probably the best way to learn is to watch Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom Protecting the Wild on NBC on weekends.
It's true. That's how I got my start. I'm proof. I am actual proof.
Yeah. And I think that education is something that is happening on different levels, and I love the way that you did that great plug there, Peter. I want to stick with you for a second because Dr. Rae mentioned something that's really cool that a lot of people can relate to, and that you've kind of become synonymous with this. Talk to us about what that's been like for you, Peter, to know that you've been able to touch audiences of all ages through this education work, and also give them something that's fun to watch.
Well, it's a very rewarding feeling knowing that the first shows we talked about animals that were going on the endangered species list, and now we're doing shows about some of the species that are coming off the endangered species list because of our behavior changing and what we've learned about this affecting the survival of so many of our species. Now, for the next portion of my career is to convince the next generation to get involved of preserving the rest of our remaining species and maybe removing some of those animals off the endangered species list.
I love that. And Dr. Rae, for you, I mean, as we kind of go into now this new season, what are you excited about the audiences being able to see and experience?
Oh, my gosh. Season 2 is a really good time. We had some amazing adventures. I mean, we didn't just see cool species, but we really went far. We traveled far and wide and really pushed ourselves to bring these stories. And so I'm excited, especially to see, for people to really see someone like me, right? I'm a black millennial woman from an inner city background, jumping into the ocean with whale sharks and bull sharks and whales and really experiencing, placing my body in the places where these wild animals are. And I want folks to understand that, me and Peter are a reflection of the folks watching our show. And so anybody can grow into leadership and really make a difference in wildlife conservation.
Such a great point. Again, Season 2 starting October the 5th, as you heard Peter say, on NBC, so make sure you guys are making plans to be able to watch. You can also find out some great information about the show and see some great clips by going to mutualofomaha.com as well. We'll make sure that we link that up for our audience. Again, it's mutualofomaha.com. You can see some great tips there, too. Again, thanks to the two of you for the time. Really great conversation with you, and looking forward to having you back on the program.
Thanks so much, Cyrus.
Great speaking with you again, Cyrus.
Okay, more than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live, and let's go make today amazing. Take care.